No, I'm on the school. I'm on the work computer. So this.
I got you anyway. No problem. Teamwork making the dream work over here. Go ahead and dive in. Thank you again for being here. So our agenda today looks similar to most weeks. We're going to go through, have a community builder and some grade level highlights. We'll do some general updates and reminders and some reopening updates. We'll talk about the schedule for next week, and then we'll have plenty of time for some Q&A. Zoom norms haven't changed. We are recording this so we can share it with families that are not able to be here. During the call, we ask that you remain on mute unless you are coming off to ask a question. Just helps keep the noise down in the background. You are welcome to use the chat to drop questions as we go. You can also use the raise a hand feature to let us know that you need to come off mute when it is time for people to surface questions as we go. So thank you so much. Those are our Zoom norms. We're going to go ahead on. And I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Lopez to talk to us about some joy.
Hi, families. Good evening. I told y'all I have a hard time with this 5 o'clock hour because I never know where it goes, if it's the afternoon or the evening or the night. But regardless, I am happy to see everybody in here. We just wanted to give out some love to those that joined us this week during our pod orientations. You do see some students here with their mask off, but that is because they're at breakfast during advisory with their sneeze guard up. So I do want to make that very clear. They're not just out here hanging around with no mask on. They actually had their mask on all day. Some people had a hard time. By the end of the day, they left and they were like freedom when they got to dismissal. But I really commend all of our students that came in because it is very hard to go from being free all day at home, right, to kind of being constricted with this mask on your face all day long. Hopefully this preps our future doctors a little bit, you know. But we had a very great time. All of our procedures were followed through and through. Arrival and dismissal went smoothly. Everyone got picked up on time. It was really a great experience. We are looking forward to tomorrow and Friday to see everyone for part 2. And then finally for Monday when we get to see all grades working together in unison. So it's going to be very exciting. It just feels like the first day of school every day, which could be a little exhausting. But that is not an issue because our dream was to have students in the building, have them in here safely, and that's where we are. So I was thinking, we haven't done a share out in a while. I know we've done some more complex community builders, but I wanted to put a question out there just thinking about our students, the age that they are in, and a lot of the conversations I've had this week around self-doubt, right, and being able to support our students and letting them know that you do not have to be an adult or an X age to be successful, that there are plenty of things that we've done at different ages that made us successful, and they could be as little as crossing the street by ourselves. Some of our students that just graduated didn't cross the street alone until they were in 8th grade. They literally held their morning and after school. It was actually really sweet. And they were proud of that, right? And that was an accomplishment for them. So I'm asking parents today, you can drop it in the chat. We can have a couple people come off of mute and share what is one of your biggest accomplishments under the age of 18. So before you turned 18, what is something that you accomplished that made you feel really proud of yourself? To give you an example, I graduated when I was 17. I was born in the summer, so it's a little late. And my biggest goal was I don't know how to dance, and I don't know how to sing, and I don't know how to act. And I went to a performing arts social justice school, and I was like, you know what, grades are my thing. I'm going to make grades my thing. And in 9th grade, I decided I was going to be valedictorian. And I worked very, 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 very hard to do just that. And so that was my biggest accomplishment. To this day, I think it's one of my greatest accomplishments because I was really determined, and it was a really long-term goal, and it was difficult, and there were long hours. But for me, it just showed me that I could achieve something on my own without having to depend on anyone. So now I'm going to open up the chat and see people are dropping in. Your accomplishment is before you turned 18. So anywhere from 0 to 17.99999. And if you don't want to type it in the chat, like I said, you can come off mute. And if you're a student on this call and you have an accomplishment, you can share that too. That is amazing. Ms. Martinez, first person to graduate high school in your family. That is a way to set an example for sure. Fully read at the age of 5. Reading is fundamental, and it's just so fun. Okay, Miss Reeves. Miss Chalk, I need you to read Miss Reeves' message. She performed on Broadway with the original cast of Cats. So we're gonna have
Are you kidding me? You've been sitting on this jewel of information for all of these years? The next time we have an assembly, I see, you know, a reprisal of this in your future.
If you can hear me, yes, I went to a performing arts school in my middle school. So yeah, we did a telethon with the original cast of Cats. So my school was performing with them on stage at the Winter Garden Theater. So yes, and I was valedictorian of my middle school.
Look at you. First of all, Miss Chalk's excited.
That is, now we know where Dakota gets her creativity.
And Kaylin too, apparently. Disney Merry Christmas multiple times in the choir. Y'all are so lucky that like Gratitude Luncheon is not in person this year, because
there would be a
it
talent
would
show.
be a talent show.
Family talent show would be happening. We will be reliving these memories.
Whoa. I am not a parent. Strong is not a parent. Well, she's a dog mom. But I commend you. I hear that's a hard thing. Miss Cardaces is a parent, and so that's amazing. Shout out to you, Marwa. I see you in there learning the ABCs. I saw that. You guys can keep dropping in your accomplishments. What's up?
I learned ABC when it was like 1.5 and then able to fully read it. Like, I think I was able to read at age 2 or something, or I don't actually remember, or 3.
You're getting out of it. You're here and making these accomplishments. Go ahead and drop them in the chat. We want to keep moving along, but I am really appreciating everyone getting personal. I want to thank you for being so open and sharing some personal stuff about yourself, and give yourself some props. We don't often think about, you know, all the things that we did growing up.
Wow. I am going to close us out with this share out from Nicole, Natalie's mom. Hi, everyone. First, at age 9, I was in the newspaper for my school, bridging the gap between racial lines in an inner city school. Second, my school in 11th grade made it to New York for choir and was nominated at a Carnegie Hall. And third, was the first parent in my family to teach in high school and work at an Ivy League school. That is incredible. And I'd love to hear more about that story. We're gonna have to come back to that and some more of these and unpack it, because it's important to get to know who we are and what we're all bringing to the table, because we've got incredible stories in this group. That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. College and Career Week. We got it. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. Ms. Lopez, talk to us about Spirit Day.
I didn't realize that I was on again. College and Career Week, just so that you know, if you are a new parent to our school or to our network, we have a week in May where we bring in people who have gone to different universities, colleges, Ivy League schools, have different professions, and they present to different grade levels on things that they've done. The girls have seen nurses, doctors. I believe Ms. Cardace's husband came in one year. We've talked to graphic designers, lawyers, people that look like them, people that don't look like them, friends of the school, our own teachers have presented to them. So we always encourage families to join us on those days. They used to be in person, they're virtual until we get to a better place, but I definitely am going to keep a mental note of all the people in this chat. Moving along to Spirit Day, I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew what was happening next week, Wednesday. So we are actually going to revamp something this year. Usually we do Book Character Day around this weekend. Because we want to give people the time to get their stuff and get together and really roll into school and hybrid learning, we're actually going to have Book Character Day on World Read Aloud Day, which is giving students another opportunity to dress up in the year. But more importantly, it really focuses on the idea of reading and this love of reading that we have at our school. So a date for that will come. It is in January, February, I believe. I'll get you the date more information on it. You'll get a flyer, all that good stuff like we usually do. But I don't want to say like in replacement of that, but while that is on pause, we do want to have some celebration time. So on Wednesday, November 4th, during advisories, all network-wide schools will be having a community building spirit day. So if you are a student on this call, or if you're a parent on this call and you want to encourage your student, advisories are deciding on their own what they want to do, how they want to show some class pride. Do they want to make a sign, take a screenshot, making sure they can dress up like their namesake, they can pick a color, they can wear their pajamas that day, right? So having a spirit day to keep things going, keep things exciting. This is one of our first events, virtual events of the year. So putting in the plug for you, if you hear your scholar say, hey Ma, I need purple pajamas for Wednesday, November 4th. It didn't come from nowhere. It is a spirit day across the network, so we will be celebrating that during advisory. So if they haven't talked to you yet, bring it up to them, ask them what they're thinking, what their class is doing, how you can support, how you can join. You know, I'm all about a parent in a class, so feel free to join us for that day.
All right. So grade level shout outs. Ms. Lopez and I are going to take these for our grade level team leaders. We asked them to take the evening off. They were at school today at 7:30 for a leader meeting this morning. And so when I said, I'm going to give you the night off from the chat and chew, which they come to voluntarily because they want to be here with you, I got a litany of text messages. Make sure you say this, make sure you say this, make sure you point out this. So while we're speaking on behalf of them, they are very much here in spirit and want to tell you all the amazing things. So for 5th grade, there was some huge shout outs to the scholars who came in the building yesterday for the first day of hybrid classes. Shout out to all the remote students who've been so responsible navigating async work and attendance, a true sign of maturity. And shout out to, and I want to make sure I say the scholar's name correctly, Ms. Lopez, correct me if I'm wrong, Mila Toyer, for working super hard to recuperate her grade. So she's been working really hard to get work turned in and to get her grade where she wants it to be. So huge shout out to our 5th Cs who you can see here being responsible hybrid learning scholars. Yes, okay, so someone's here for Mila. I want to make sure that I said that name correctly. Feel free to come off mute and tell me if I did not.
You did say her name correctly. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, shout out. Glad you're here for the shout out. All right, Ms. Lopez, let's take it to 6th grade. I'm gonna let you take this one because I got to read Ms. Walker's note for 7th grade so I know what to say. It was very specific.
Sure. Let me just move all these little windows out of my way. Shout out to all the students that showed up to hybrid learning on Monday. It was so great to finally see you all in person. That is from the entire 6th grade team. Shout out to Egypt, Camila, and Madison M., which is Madison McWilliams, for reaching out to your teachers about your grades and trying to find ways to improve your grades. Definitely showing that core value of responsibility. Shout out to RBG for the great discussions we have at the beginning of our ELA class. Shout out to Heidi for giving an amazing performance in theater. I also want to give Heidi a shout out because after our conversation with, well, not my personal conversation, but After your mom, Ms. Nolis, got on the phone, you have been here every single day. So I definitely want to give you a shout out for that. And shout out to all the parents that are receiving a ton of communication from us. We know it can be exhausting. We know you get one message here and then 15 minutes later the message may change. But thank you for being flexible and working with the teachers in ways to help our students.
Awesome. Okay, so Ms. Walker says, I want you to show off the student work though. You have to get it right. From left to right, it was done by Tamela, Nikayla, Ariana Arce, and Harmony. So this comic was drawn or created by our very own Nikayla. So let's see if we can interpret the rest of it here. So shout out to the hybrid learners, productive and joyful day. Shout out to the students who came 100% prepared with their Chromebook charger and full uniform to pod orientation. Esther, Marley, Mackenzie, Talbot, Anissa, Tamela, Alicia, Baker, and Hattie. Shout out to all the students who went above and beyond with their Star Girl vocabulary projects. So there we go. So from left to right, we've got work by Tamela, Nikayla, Ariana Arce, and Harmony. So huge, huge shout out to all the students, both remote and in person, who were doing incredible work with their vocabulary in ELA. Ms. Walker is very proud.
And since I figure we're doing like a one-off. So 8th grade, shout out to Savannah Bailey for handling herself with maturity and honesty and keeping her eye on academic success. I was definitely here for that conversation, so I co-sign on that message. Thank you for being responsible. Shout out to Janelle, Ariana Hickman, Brooke Boyd, Talia Soto, Camila Ferreira, Autumn T, Brittany Samaru, Jeliza, Jayla Torres Negron, and Jasmine Paris for embodying the core value of responsibility this week. 8th grade is stepping up as the seniors in this building, and it is amazing to see. Participation leaders, Joanna's in another grade. Anaya Sarai, which I see in the chat, Zanaya P, Jeliza, Jonalise, Ariana Hickman, Leilani Cruz, and Sarah Nieves. Another shout out to Tyler, Dallas, Aliana, Lauren, Joanna, Katie, Shade, Kaylee, Danila, Brittany, Pragya, Alexa, Melina, Dana, Caitlin, Zaria, Michaela, Sarai, this is like the whole 8th grade. Atia, Anaya Sarai again, Emily P, Dakota, Kamora, Biani, Kaylin, and Leilani for demonstrating scholarship and merit at the same time.
And I have to say it again, 8th graders are the leaders right now with attendance. They once again exceeded our 95% attendance goal. They were at like 96.7, maybe even 97%. So huge shout out to the 8th graders for demonstrating that scholarship and responsibility and setting the example for their younger sisters.
And Ms. Strong, they had 122% of point of contact contacts this week. So 122% is like out of this world. That means all students spoke to all point of contacts twice last week. So we really want to shout you guys out for that because again, we know communication could be exhausting, but 8th grade is up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to 8th grade. All right, next slide for me, Ms. Lopez. This is just some more pod orientation joy. Some of our 5th graders and 7th graders, and then this awesome yellow brick road door that our 7th grade team put together. Teachers really went above and beyond to make sure that the building was super welcoming, and also have been going above and beyond in outreach to scholars who are remote, because while we're excited about girls being in person, we are just as committed to our scholars who are going to remain remote and ensuring that they continue to get the highest quality instruction that they can. And so we wanted to share this joy with you. The far right picture is 5th graders. They're practicing a routine. Mara, you may have just walked out of the room, I think. right before I took this picture. This was the second group of fifth graders practicing. And they're showing their history vocabulary, the equator. They all put their arms out like this. That helps them estimate 6 feet. They know they're far enough away from their peers. And they're doing some kinesthetic vocabulary work. So it's really cool. Mara, come off mute. What's the one where you put your fist in your hand? What's that word? Pop quiz.
Something with C.
You're going to think about it. I'm not really putting you on the spot. It's okay if you don't remember. You were just learning it, but it was amazing. You think and put it in the chat if you remember. Next slide, please, Ms. Lopez. So just some reminders for those of you that are coming in. And then we're going to talk about schedules and stuff for both remote and hybrid. So if you're a remote only parent, no need to fear. There's definitely information specific to you that's coming out. So please don't forget, if you're coming in person, that there is a health screener, a form that's being Kinvo'd out every morning that has to be completed before your scholar leaves, before they get here. We need to see confirmation that it was completed once you arrive. It's going to be this big green check. So if you are not coming with your scholar, if they're coming on their own, you can text them a screenshot of the confirmation and they can hold that up and they're good to go. If you forget to do it and you arrive or your scholar arrives and either of you have a cell phone with a camera, we'll also have the QR code available and we'll have students do it on the spot. But the more we can get that done before our students arrive, the faster we can get them in the building, the faster arrival, the smoother that will go. So please just remember to be on the lookout. It's a Kinvo text message. It's not going to say Kinvo. You don't have to download an app. You're just going to get a text message that says, here's the daily screener. So please make sure that you take care of that. Putting a plug in for navy blue sweaters. So, you know, building temperature is hard to regulate in New York City sometimes. My office is very warm all day, but some students are chilly in class, even with the heat on, and we want to make sure that they can be comfortable, but also in uniform. So navy blue sweater, it needs to button up or zip up, and there should not be a hood on it. So if you need support in getting a sweater, we are happy to support. I put Ms. Lopez's email there, klopez@girlsprep.org. So please just reach out to her if you need some support getting a navy sweater for your scholar. Again, shout out, we did not have an issue with late pickup this week. We appreciate your support with that. Please make sure to continue to have whoever's picking up your scholar be here at 4:15. Make sure they bring their ID. I cannot reiterate it enough. Until we know faces and names and who is authorized to pick up scholars, we will not release your scholar if the person who shows up, A, is not on their dismissal form, or B, does not have ID to show us who they are, right? Especially in these first few weeks, safety first. We don't want to have to call you and hound you about it, but we will not release your scholar unless we know who we are releasing them to. So please make sure they get here at continue to be here at 4:15 and have ID ready for the dismissal roster check. Please bring a clear filled water bottle, right? We're not using the water fountains like we typically do because of COVID safety protocols. So please make sure you bring the water bottle filled in the morning. We'll make sure kids have access to refilling the water bottle, but please make sure to bring that. Make sure you've submitted your immunizations and your physical form. That is if you are remote or in person, everybody still has to submit their forms. Ms. Lopez will drop the email in the chat. It is girlsprep.lesms@girlsprep.org. That is like our main office email address. We need everybody's immunizations and physicals submitted, please, to that email address. Please remind scholars, and I'm going to demonstrate, the proper way to wear the mask is above the nose, like this. So Ms. Lopez showed some photos of girls who were taking a mask break earlier, which we do have built in throughout the day. During a mask break, behind a plexiglass screen. Girls can have their mask down, but this is not wearing your mask, right? Because your nose is still out. So please remind your scholar that the appropriate way to wear it is above their nose. My mask is off because I'm alone in my space. Otherwise, we would have it on and above the nose. And just in a uniform reminder, our uniform shoes are all black or all blue, rubber-soled flat shoes. So please make sure if you do not yet have uniform shoes and you're working on it, again, reach out to school leadership. You can reach out to any of the emails in the chat. Let us know that you're working on that. Otherwise, your point of contact is going to reach out about uniform to make sure you're good to go. All right, schedule going into next week. So it's technically week 2 of our phase-in, but there's also election day happening. If you don't yet have a voting plan, make your plan to vote. Voter suppression is real. The lines are real, but your voice is important. We want to make sure everyone has a plan to vote. That's a sideline. That's not actually the schedule for next week. Make a plan. Let's make it happen. So next week, Monday, is a full day of school. For students who are hybrid, all 4 grades are in the building, so 5 through 8. If your student is remote only, they have live synchronous classes all day. Tuesday is election day. There is no school. Vote, 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 and vote. No school Tuesday. Wednesday, November 4th, all students are at home. Remember, Wednesdays is going to continue to be our remote day, even for scholars in hybrid learning. So all students are remote, but here's the difference. This week, we start live advisory, small groups, and office hours on Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So it's no longer just async on Wednesday. Scholars are actually going to need to log in for live advisory, small groups, and office hours. This is the time where we're going to get really targeted in helping students, responding to data, getting caught up, having extra time for extra help, and all the good things. Thursday, 11/5, it is a full day. All 4 grades of hybrid scholars are in the building. Remote only students have a full day of live synchronous classes. Same for Friday. Hybrid, all 4 grades are on site. Remote, full day of synchronous classes. After next week, it will continue to be 4 days of all students who are hybrid in the building and remote only students having live synchronous classes every day of the week. So next week is the last kind of wonky cadence as we continue our phase-in plan. I'm going to go ahead to the next slide. Great. So the in-person schedule. Students are going, if they came in person already, have already seen this, and we'll be reviewing it again tomorrow if they didn't review it on Monday or Tuesday. But this is just an example of what the in-person schedule looks like. The in-person schedule and the hybrid schedule are largely the exact same. The only difference is the advisory time in the morning. For in-person scholars, it accounts for their arrival time, right? So for in-person scholars, they are either in pod 1 or pod 2. They know which pod they're in because they got their classroom number and their seat when they came on Monday or Tuesday. And so every student is gonna have 30 minutes, whether you're remote or in person, they will have 30 minutes of advisory in the morning where they are going to log on and see the girls in their namesake advisory. So even though your scholar might be in pod 1 now, if she's in 5th grade, she's still a part of MO, right? MO and our namesake identity, our advisory identity, is a huge part of our school culture. And that is not going away just because our rosters look a little different now. So in the morning, everybody's going to be logging in for advisory together so that we don't lose that part of our culture, and we'll be working on our ruler lessons for social emotional learning, which Ms. Lopez has talked about and which we'll continue to talk to you about. So all scholars have 30 minutes of advisory for social emotional learning. All scholars have 45 minutes of an intervention or enrichment period where we're doing office hours and small group instruction. All scholars have 45 minutes of lunch and recess. And then all the rest of our classes are 60-minute blocks. So again, whether they are in person or remote, they have the same classes and they will have the same teachers. So for example, in 5th grade, Ms. Colgan and Ms. Swap teach history. Ms. Colgan and Ms. Swap will continue to teach history. One of them will be working with hybrid kids. One of them will be working with remote students in 5th grade. And then they will alternate by week so that your scholar will still see all of her regular teachers. She's not all of a sudden getting a new teacher or a new advisor. All of that will remain consistent for scholars, whether they're in the building or whether they are remote. So that is kind of an overview of the schedule. And if you go to the next slide, Ms. Lopez, you'll see that the remote only schedule, again, looks almost identical to the in-person schedule, with the exception of the beginning and the end of the day. So starting next week, if your scholar is remote only, there are a couple things that are going to be different. Remote only advisory is now going to start at 9 a.m. It's starting at 8:30 currently, but so that we can ensure girls are able to log on and be together in advisory, we have to account for our staggered arrival time in the morning. So by 9 a.m., all girls, no matter whether they're in person or at home, will be able to log on and start the day officially. So the remote only start time for next week, again, starting Monday, November 2nd, and then going on forever, the start time is going to be 9 a.m. Again, the rest of the day is going to be the same whether scholars are in person or remote. We've got pod 1 and pod 2 in the building. We've got remote group 1 and remote group 2 in remote learning. And so you'll see that at the end of the day for remote only scholars from 4 to 4:30, as opposed to having afternoon pack up and dismissal, they have independent reading. And don't worry about 7th grade. I didn't put every screenshot of the schedule in here. I only did 5th and 6th grade for an example. We'll be sending out, if you're coming in person, you'll be getting your schedule in person. And then for families, for those of you who are remote, you're gonna get 2 things this week from your point of contact. They're going to tell you whether your scholar is remote group 1 or remote group 2, right? Because that is gonna be a shift in the schedule. And then they're also going to review, okay, so if your scholar's in remote group 1, here's the order of her classes. Our live schedule document that we've been using with all the Zoom links, that's gonna be updated so that by Sunday, all of your, all of the schedule is updated and all the links that students will need are there. So it'll look largely similar to how it does now, but it will say remote group 1 and remote group 2 at the top, as opposed to saying their advisory name. So again, your point of contact is going to be telling you whether your scholar is enrolled in remote group 1 or remote group 2. And then by Sunday, that same schedule document that you have access to, that your scholar has access to, will be updated with all the links so that come Monday, all your scholar has to do is go in and follow the schedule for her remote learning group. All right, next slide, please. And boom, I already said that. What to expect from your point of contact. They're gonna let you know your remote learning pod, and we'll walk you through that schedule. Again, that live schedule will be updated by Sunday so that Monday, all remote learning scholars are good to go. And with that, we're gonna turn it over to you all just for some Q&A for the remainder of the time that we are together. Feel free to either type it in the chat or you can use that raise a hand feature and we'll call you to come off mute. Oh, Anaris Martin, I didn't know that was you this whole time. That's your mom's name on Zoom. Hi, Anaris. Hope you're doing well. Gotta go, no problem.
I think we pretty much got all the questions, but I just want to say out loud because I know sometimes we need to hear it. We are sending the schedule like at the end of the week, right? Like in your usual Miss Strong update with the PDF and the email, you'll get your grade schedule, and scholars should have either seen a copy of it.
Yep, absolutely. So that, again, that live schedule document will be sent out. And for those of you whose scholars are in hybrid, we will also send you the hybrid schedule. It's not going to have any links in it because hybrid students aren't clicking on any links to go to class, but we will make sure that if your scholar is in hybrid, that you also have the document with their daily schedule.
Could I leave if I don't have any questions?
Yes, ma'am, you sure can. And Mara, we'll see you on, whoop, she is gone. She was not kidding. We'll see Mara on Friday. I did see one question in the chat about hybrid learning this week. Just a reminder, tomorrow we have 6th and 8th grade back on site. Friday, we have 5th and 7th grade back on site. So tomorrow and Friday are the last 2 days where it's just pod orientation. So if your scholar's in 6th grade or 8th grade, they're either coming in person tomorrow. If your scholar is remote only in 6th or 8th grade, their classes are asynchronous tomorrow. So teachers are going to be posting work on Google Classroom, and we'll be reaching out to them for office hours support throughout the day. But they're not logging on live for tomorrow if they're 6th or 8th grade. If they're 5th or 7th grade, tomorrow, everybody's remote only and everybody has their live classes all day. Friday, 6th and 8th graders are home, live classes all day. 5th and 7th graders are either in the building or they've got their asynchronous Google Classroom work with office hours support from teachers. I am happy to send that breakdown back out to families if that would be helpful. It was in that little schedule table I sent last week. And I can email that back out if that would be helpful. And I'll post it on our Facebook page.
I had a question.
Sure.
Okay, so today I was trying to log in. My daughter's Jolie Brathwaite. I was trying to log her into the office hours for science today, but it wasn't available. So I'm not sure, are the office hours canceled for Wednesdays now?
This was the last week where it was just async, meaning nothing live, because we had our last day of staff training for reopening. So next Wednesday, 11/4, we'll be back for live office hours in small groups on Wednesdays.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question, Ms. Strong.
Uh-huh.
The
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Reese.
The CODIS annual physical is Thursday on the 5th at 3:20. But she's going to still log in throughout the day. But who do I contact for the afternoon classes? Do I contact the teachers or just send a general email? Because we'll be at the doctor's office from 3:20 on.
Yep. You can just let your point of contact know, and they'll inform the grade team and the main office. And if you just send the main office your doctor's note, they'll make sure that that's on record and everything's excused and she's good to go. Joanne, how
Okay,
will we know if scholars, oh yeah, no problem. How do we know if scholars are in a small group?
No.
The small groups that are definitely happening next week are our mandated small groups. So if your scholar has sets or mandated services, those are definitely happening. For scholars without mandated services, teachers will be reaching out for small groups around office hours and around specific assignments that they've seen students need help with. So your scholar will hear directly from her teachers if she needs to show up during a small group block. And then you'll see on the schedule, there's like a general hour of office hours where like any student can go to any teacher just to get extra help on something. So again, just stamping it for mandated small groups. Your scholar's teachers should have already reached out to the family and the student to review the schedule of when those small groups are happening. And then if your scholar does not have mandated services, teachers will be reaching out directly saying, hey, Esther, I want you to come into this book club, or I want you to come, we're gonna work on that exit ticket from history. And she'll know then that that's the small group that she is going to.
Sorry, I have something else. De Blasio sent something out yesterday with the emails about the grading and the attendance not being part of the grades for this year. This was just yesterday that was posted. Because your charter, is it the same or is different? Do you follow De Blasio?
Yeah, so because we are a charter, we are different in some ways, and we are not changing our policies right now for grades or attendance in remote learning. We set things up differently from the DOE in a lot of ways in terms of what we prepared for and what we were offering in terms of live instruction and opportunities for scholars to connect. And so we are not making any shifts at this time. Should any of that change, obviously I will definitely, y'all will be the first to know, but we are not making any shifts in our policies right now.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, I'm seeing the question about Power School issues. Will you just put your scholar's name in so I know who your scholar is and I can follow up directly? There was a tech issue on the Power School side of things that our tech team was working to get resolved that was prohibiting some families from receiving the confirmation email and actually activating their account. My understanding
Heaven, can you just write down reactivate Power School on a piece of paper?
Should be resolved, and parents should now be able to get that confirmation email. But if you are still unable to activate your parent portal account, we definitely need to problem solve one-on-one. And so I'm seeing Jasleen O'Neill is the scholar's name. Tell Jasleen I said hi. I'm going to follow up with you directly because it seems like it might be a one-off problem-solving situation that we can do together. Got it. You're not able to sign up. Great. Okay. Thank you, Esther. I will consider the complaint formally lodged and will forward that to our IT department so that we can talk about how to balance appropriate internet restrictions with the ability to look up animals, which I realize could be like very important, both as a hobby and for your own intellectual growth and curiosity. Doggone internet blocker. blocks the search for animals, but then the other day a family was like, yeah, then this other thing that I didn't want her going on, she could get on the site. So we're getting better every day. Thank you for giving us the feedback, Esther. Donating uniforms, how can we? Miss Lopez, any thoughts on that as we get ready to wrap up?
Yeah, I sent you a private message in regards to uniform. Sorry, y'all, it's 6 o'clock. Brain is gone. In regards to uniform, if you could set up a time to drop it off, just to be clear, so that everyone knows that all families have donated for years any type of like lightly worn or never worn uniforms to our campus. That is still an option. What happens is we are now investing in a continuous laundry cycle to wash those uniforms and be able to provide them to students who may be in need. But it is a one-time give, so once you have it, I am not taking it back because of COVID and trying to follow the right policy. So we do want to take the opportunity to be resourceful, but we also want to be mindful of everything. So we do wash it, not on campus, we take it somewhere, and basically sanitize it, and then we provide that uniform to another student. But due to COVID, we would not ask for it back. Typically, we would ask for the uniform back because it's helpful unless the student's in need. So for the time being, we are not asking for it back.
Ms. Reeves, I don't have a specific update right now. I can definitely flag it for Ms. McCullough if anything is shifted on her end and make sure that she gets up with you on that. I know that's been kind of a lovely Department of Ed waiting game that we've been on with high school accounts, which is super frustrating. So I'll definitely flag that for Ms. McCullough. The other things I've got that I'm looping back to is I've got Tawana, Jasleen, and Miracle's families with PowerSchool login issues that need follow-up. And so I'm gonna make sure that our team and our POCs reach out to get those resolved. And I got Ms. Reeves with the high school app or high school portal follow-up with Ms. McCullough. All right, families, with that, we're gonna go ahead and sign off for today. If there were any questions that we did not get to, please don't hesitate to reach out directly. We will be back here together next week at 5 o'clock, and we appreciate your time. Thank you for being here. Again, if you need anything between now and then, don't hesitate to reach out directly. Have a safe week. Tell your girls we said hello. We miss all of them. And cannot wait to see you all again soon. Have a great rest of the week. And shout out to Joy and Katie who got free flu shots on our campus. I still have my Band-Aid. No flu here. Have a good night, everyone.